According to experts, it seems like a lot of diseases are related to inflammation. So what is inflammation, and how does it affect aging?
Inflammation is a product, a consequence of our immune system trying to find a answer for intruders. It doesn't know where it is, and then the body becomes in the alarm condition. And that alarm condition is inflammation. So that affects the immune cells.
Because your immune system, when you are younger, it does a very good job of protecting you from the evils of the world, pathogens, and etc. As you get older, it sort of turns on you, and you become more inflamed and less able to fight off infection. And inflammation is just absolutely horrid on the body. It releases more free radicals, it creates DNA damage, and so one of the main tenets of blocking aging is to decrease the inflammatory process.
So your innate immune system is just running around constantly in your later life saying, oh God, this place is falling apart. And that's a big problem. And turning that off is something which people are only really just starting to get a grip on. Which of the levers do we maybe think we can turn to stop it reacting in this way?
We're going to be causing things like heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. So we want to try and minimize inflammation as much as possible so that we can age better and, again, weather those attacks in the future a little bit better.
So it can, for example, cause leaky gut and leaky gums and leaky blood-brain barrier. It can actually attack its own organs, which is what we call autoimmune diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis. It can cause inflammation such as inflammatory bowel disease, and then all these neurodegenerative diseases. So all of those, even metabolic disease and obesity, are very likely caused by inflammation.
What is the purpose of inflammation? Why do we even have this inflammation? Well, guess what? If we didn't have inflammation, we would die of wounds. So inflammation is really good when it is needed for a short term. So you get wounded, it becomes red. That's inflammation, to stop from the bacteria from actually getting inside the body. But a chronic inflammation that we are having due to a lifestyle, the modern lifestyle, that is what's causing us to age. What causes those inflammation? Constant stress. Our work environment is stressful. And a lot of people will tell you their home environment is stressful, right? So it's work that, causes us to stress, and you go home and your spouses cause us to stress, and then you suddenly have stress all the time. That causes inflammation. And I think also the nutrition that we are providing our body are in fact getting less and less. People used to live on a farm. They used to eat the food that has a lot of fiber. Now we're eating all the processed food, and that is causing our body not to have the nutrition. Not only that, we're now growing the food that are full of pesticides, full of insecticides, full of antibiotics in the meat. And that's causing the whole ecosystem inside our body to be destroyed.
So there are many ways to fight inflammation. A lot of people started at the dietary level, and they tend to consume foods and agents that are less inflammatory than others. But once you are already inflamed in your body, there are many molecular agents that do this. By far, I think the best one is curcumin.
Exercise seems to have a big impact on inflammation. So even though exercise itself is a stressor, it's what we call hormetic, so it's this mild stressor that can actually have a beneficial impact in the long run. And one of those impacts is that it seems to reduce inflammation. Other things are reducing stress, so people who even experience these traumatic life events or have kind of continued chronic stress due to potentially socioeconomic situations tend to have more inflammatory profiles.
A happy and healthy mind yields a healthy body. For millennia, people have explored the role that our mind plays on our bodies. But could a healthy mindset also affect our longevity?
As recently as 2007, scientists and researchers did not believe that stress could lead to chronic illnesses. But since then, a lot of research has come out, and it's been found that stress can lead to things like cardiovascular disease, autoimmune disorders, and even cancer. The reason for this is that when we're stressed, we're disrupting the circadian cortisol rhythm, and that is going to lead to a down-regulation of the glucocorticoid receptors in inflammatory cells.
Our bodies were never designed to be constantly under stress. And that's the reason when you go home What is the thing people say before you eat? Let's do the blessing or the prayer. Why is that? Because the idea was to actually bring your body from sympathetic mode into parasympathetic mode. That means get rid of fight or flight response, be in the gratitude, so you actually now reduce your stress so your body can start to digest the food.
What happens is when you are stressed, your body produces more inflammatory cytokinins. You get increased cortisol levels and a variety of other hormonal levels. And those things sort of create a calamitous situation around your body.
Stress causes your gut microbiome to go out of balance. And then when your microbiome is out of balance, they actually change your mind because your gut-brain axis constantly through the vagus nerve. They're communicating. So idea is when your ecosystem in your gut is imbalanced, you get mental health issues and it causes inflammation.
We live a very fast-paced lifestyle in this day and age. We all want the next car, a bigger house, a better job, working all day, losing sleep. Then we're on our phone, on Instagram, or on Facebook all night. And we're constantly stimulated by the stress in our body that we don't even realize it. And living in a constant state of stress is going to lead to a state of disease. So I truly think that being able to retract yourself from that, be in the present moment, slow yourself down sometimes, be grateful for wherever you're at in life, even if it's not exactly where you want to be, and just having a more abundant, positive attitude rather than a negative, fearful attitude is something that is less studied and less proven, but I think we're truly starting to see can lead to a much longer and healthier, happier lifestyle.
Stress management and mental health is a very important part of the longevity approach because everything is interconnected, because you cannot improve your mental state without improving your biology, and you cannot improve enough your biology without improving your mental state.
The study today that was just published in the Smithsonian, which is an echo of a study on 500,000 people, said the reduction of stress was the single most important thing. But stress is very different. Is it eustress or distress? Say, you get excited, that can be stressful on your body. Your adrenals fire off, it can be stressful on your body. But if you're enjoying yourself, it has a radically different biochemical effect when it's distress and you're really upset. We need a certain amount of stress to feel alive. We need a certain amount of stress to be healthy. But it's the balance of stress. And is it, again, eustress or distress? It's amazing someone's attitude and mindset about stress and how that changes the biochemistry a person experiences.
I know a lot of people anecdotally in my own life, such as my grandparents, who they smoked and they drank, but they had the least stressful life. They came from a town, a population of 5,000 people. There was no competitive nature. You weren't trying to beat your neighbor. There was a large sense of community, and they're both 95 years old and still healthy right now and not applying any longevity tricks or anything other than living a stress-free life.
Yeah, I think that people need to find their zen. I mean, it's not like finding your sport or what are you good at? It's more like what gives you a feeling of peace and what gives you a feeling of center. Once you do it and you walk away and you know that re-energized you and that you have a clear mind and that you can now solve problems that were in your life. Whatever that thing is, make sure you try to do it on a regular basis.
The most powerful tool I've found in my life for improving stress has been learning to meditate. This can be a practice for as short as 5 or 10 minutes, could be as long as 20 minutes, but it really allows you to sit with your thoughts and just breathe. And what you learn to develop in this process is this third-person perspective on how all these different things that are going on in your mind are really operating. And it gives you the ability to control these thoughts and pass them through. And what you find when you actually measure the state of meditating is it can often look a lot like quality sleep. And it can often really decrease your resting heart rate and increase your heart rate variability, which are key signs that your body is actually in a performance state.
Managing stress, the best way of doing it is yoga. And the reason I tell you that, when you're doing yoga, you have to listen to your breath. That means you can't think about anything else.
I would say exercise definitely promotes good mental health and helps stress management. There's a lot of endorphins and hormones that your body releases through training hard and exercising hard. A lot of oxytocin, serotonin your body just naturally releases. You get a dopamine surge from a heavy lifting workout and all these things, and it naturally will decrease your cortisol levels. And there's also a fact that if you go in with high cortisol levels into the gym, your body can use that cortisol to push through pain thresholds and train harder, and in the end, your cortisol levels will actually be even lower.
It turns out things like making art, creativity, dance, movement, exercise, mindset, joy, those things have biological objective measures.
So I make sure that I minimize any toxic relationships in my life. Hopefully I can eliminate them. If not, I minimize my time with those people and I maximize my time with the positive people in my life. And when it comes to relationships, that does not exclude animals. So I have my dog Mia, who I'm in love with. And I find that even just stopping for a second and giving her a hug or a kiss really calms me down a lot. And I can feel the endorphins flowing through me when I spend some time with her.
So purpose in life actually describes why you get out of bed in the morning, what makes you tick. It is the reason behind your actions, and it serves as a navigation system that guides you through life and helps you to strive and achieve.
And during the day, when you become nervous or anxiety or stressed, just do 10 or 20 breaths. You keep it 1 minute, like take that moment. You stop the stress. What happens in the body? 5 times more blood will be flushed into your heart and into your brain. Give it to your body. Give it to your brain, the seat of the mind. It's power. It's life force coming in. You want death force or life force?
Not all cells are made equal. There are certain types of cells called stem cells that hold a big promise in the world of longevity and anti-aging. So what are those cells, and how can we benefit from them?
So I've been getting stem cells now for about 3 years. I first got it for a chronic injury I had in my knees. My knees were super sore and I was building arthritis from the way I train. I train really heavy, really hard, very consistently, and it takes a big toll on my body. And stem cells are something that are great for bringing down inflammation, but what I learned is that they're also great for modulating your immune system. And I personally have an autoimmune disease called IgA nephropathy, and that started to affect my bodybuilding career, my stress in my body. It was really just taking a toll on me. And ever since then, I haven't had an autoimmune flare-up. I've been much healthier. My kidney filtration levels are much more in range now, and all my health markers have been kind of getting much better over time, along with all the other stuff I've been doing. But I'm sure also the stem cells have been a huge contributor of that.
All stem cells really do is they help to repair or restore function. So they're kind of the building blocks. If something is damaged, they can help to repair that damaged tissue back into a normal state. Now, stem cells also have a unique ability to self-divide, meaning they can go through this process called mitosis, where they can divide and regrow new tissue. Aging is happening because of these cellular processes. What if we can take these cellular processes and turn them back into a normal state, meaning like you were when you were 20?
The stem cells are that regenerative engine. They're constantly repairing, but as we age, the number of cells in our body can be reduced by hundreds to thousands of fold. So we don't have the cells there. And the DNA that was resonant and pristine at birth is beginning to degrade as we age. So one of the big technology areas is, can we replenish your stem cell population?
So if we can have a treatment that can target all the hallmarks of aging in an effective way, that to me is not only the most effective in terms of time saving, but it's also most likely to be the most impactful. So in my opinion, intravenous treatments of stem cells and exosomes, which are derived from stem cells, target all those hallmarks of aging and can slow it down significantly.
As long as it's done properly, I also don't see too many potential side effects, so I don't think the risk is very high. But these are just opinions. There's very little hard scientific evidence to make any sort of a objective judgment.
It's hard to say that everyone should try stem cell therapy, because there's plenty of ways to be healthy very naturally without drugs, without spending a lot of money. But I think there's specific people who have specific problems that it can definitely help with, whether it be chronic injuries, arthritis, lots of inflammatory diseases, autoimmune diseases. I think they can definitely help. But I also believe there's plenty of other methods to help. If that's not really in your price range to afford stem cells, there's much more you can do. But it's definitely something that I would like to see the cost come down and the availability to the public become a lot more widely available to the public so everybody can use it.
Like Hippocrates once said, "Let food be thy medicine, and let medicine be thy food." This old adage, it seems, is still valid to this day.
Are you keto, are you paleo, are you pescatarian, are you vegan or plant-based or whatever it is, you can be what you want, but you gotta eat healthy food, you gotta eat whole foods. And that means, in general, regardless of which one of those things you are, you got to eat a lot of plants. You know what I mean? And you have to have some high-quality protein.
I think diet is one of the most cost-effective ways to increase your health. So I really try and focus on a whole food diet. There's a lot of diet fads that come out, whether it be carnivore, keto, and all these things, and I'm sure they all work in their own way. But at the end of the day, they're all restrictions that stop yourself from putting certain things in your body. And I choose just to put natural whole foods in my body. Whatever's been around the longest on this earth is probably there for a reason. And it's not made by us, it's made by the planet Earth for us to eat. So that's how I typically build my diet, as natural as possible.
If you switch to mostly plant-based diet, this can easily add 2, 3, 5 healthy and happy years to your life. I'm not religious about being plant-based. I occasionally eat meat or fish, but I'm also very focused to consume as much vegetables as possible.
I do have a whole plant diet, and at the end of the day, try and minimize my animal proteins that I bring in.
I love being vegetarian. It can be weird when you're with a bunch of guys going to a steakhouse. You know, what I eat really makes a difference in how everything in my body operates.
Literally, I'm plant-based, raw vegan. As I get older, the more raw foods I eat.
Mediterranean diet, rather, is a great diet for people to look at. But today, there's technology where you can see what your body responds most to in terms of food. Some people burn carbs really well. Some people burn fat. Some people burn proteins. So again, that's what we do at Found Life. Find out what your individual body needs and then design a diet around that, ideally.
I mean, and I think that's the thing that doesn't get enough attention. You have to learn what it is for you that fits your wiring. I don't think there's one size fits all. You know, those type of life hacks, may not extend my lifespan, but they'll extend the quality of my life.
If there's one thing in diet, it is eliminating sugar. Our bodies never evolved for the amount of sugar that we consume. Sugar is a neuroinflammatory, it's a cardiac inflammatory. It is, unfortunately, addicting and ravages the body in a multitude of different ways.
When you get older, food becomes more like medicine, where you need the nutrients in order to be able to be your best self.
My opinion, and also the scientific evidence, shows that plant foods are the sine qua non of a healthy diet. And so in our experience, the sicker the patients are, the more they have to rely on a 100% plant-based diet.
So there's been a lot of debate as to which diet is best, but overwhelmingly it seems that at the moment, the best diet or the best evidence for a diet would be the Mediterranean diet. So this is things like lots of fruits, vegetables, fish, olive oil, nuts, seeds. Those are the things that seem to actually improve our health and improve the aging process.
I eat a 95% plant-based diet. I eat a little bit of fish, and so occasionally we'll have a little bit of cheese or dairy in my diet. So there's evidence from both epidemiological, which is just, looking at different populations, and also some experimental data showing that plant-based diet is what we would call anti-aging. So it's associated with slower rates of aging. So from the epidemiological perspective, you can look at kind of these longest lived populations around the world, which live in these areas called blue zones. And they tend to be, although not exclusively plant-based, mostly plant-based.
In terms of whether specific diet approaches to dietary components are good or bad, look, everybody's trying to sell you something. Vegetarians are generally better off, but are they better off because they're not eating all the gunk that comes with meat? Or are they better off just because vegetarians tend to eat fewer calories? Even a question as simple as that, nobody can tell you the answer. So just basically eat sensibly and keep the calories lower.
The most practical things that people can do: one, identify the worst version of yourself, and you know who that person is. In me, it was Evening Brian. 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., he ate junk food and way too much every single night, and I couldn't stop him. You have your own version of Evening Brian. Who is that person? When do they show up? What are their arguments? And what can you do to develop a plan to stop them? So in my case, I fired Evening Brian and said, you cannot make decisions anymore. But one of the most useful things you can do in your life is identify versions of you that engage in self-destructive behavior that you feel powerless to correct. Try to overpower that. Name the person, identify their behaviors, what their thought patterns are, what their arguments are, and then systematically eliminate them from your life.
The purpose of Health and Longevity Cafe is to make the longevity solutions massively affordable and available. This is why we are building up to 10,000 cafes around the world where you can get the basic evaluation of your health, and the cafe will serve you in a way how to improve your health on a systematic way. And all of this supported by advanced algorithms and diagnostics.
Heat and cold therapies have been around for ages, but now scientists are discovering the profound effects that these simple protocols can have on our health.
My name is Wim Hof. They call me the Iceman because I broke a lot of records in the extreme cold. Cold exposure is the training of the neglected cardiovascular system. It is the best cardiovascular workout you can imagine. It is the training of 125,000 kilometers of blood vessels and millions of little muscles inside. It is tackling the cardiovascular-related diseases, killing millions of people in Western societies every year.
One of my favorite things that I've been doing for the last 5 years is ice baths. So I have a cold plunge in my backyard, and I like to do these away from working out either early in the morning or on a rest day, because how strong the anti-inflammatory benefits are of it can actually decrease the benefits of hypertrophy training, such as lifting weights. You want the inflammation from immediately after training, so you don't want to get an ice bath after that, but applying it at different parts of your day, it can decrease your cortisol levels, increase dopamine, it can help reset your HRV levels to help you sleep better at night. There's a lot of benefits that come from cold therapy, and a lot of studies have been on that lately.
So at a certain moment, I came in contact with scientists, and they tested me, experimented me, and researched upon me. And they found out that I was able to bring down inflammation. Inflammation causes 50 to 60 million people to die every year, and probably a couple of billion people to have a less quality of life because of inflammation. As long as cells are able to reproduce and to divide, you live longer. You can influence that process very directly by going into cold showers every day. Because then you train the cardiovascular system, and then the oxygen, nutrients, the vitamins, they get everywhere in all the cells. A cold shower a day keeps the doctor away. That's what I always say. And now even the doctors are doing it because they know the shit works.
I'm a great fan of cold plunges. I have started this practice like 4 years ago, and I have observed a tremendous difference. So I have suffered from frequent colds years ago until I changed to cold showers, which I do every day. And this has actually increased my resilience against infectious diseases quite tremendously.
Ancient cultures were drawn to saunas not because they thought they would live longer. They were drawn because it made them feel better. Similar to today, it could be 70 degrees outside and you feel the warmth of the sun. It just feels really, really good.
Heat exposure for longevity is a really interesting area of research. There was a lot of data coming out from Finland where they were looking at sauna use, and it seems that the combination of sauna use with exercise seemed to protect against heart disease even more than just exercise alone. By going into saunas and subjecting yourself to quite high temperatures, we elevate the heart rate and we start to sweat out different salts. And by doing that, we're activating heat shock proteins. So it's hoped that by activating those types of proteins, we can make our cells more resilient. Specifically, we can protect ourselves from heart disease.
The good news is you can activate these powerful heat shock proteins through any type of heat activity. It could be a hot bath, it could be hot water with lemon, it can be a sauna, it can be anything that generates heat.
I also have a sauna, which sometimes I contrast therapy. I go back and forth from sauna to cold tub. And within that, I'll wear a heart rate monitor, and I'll let my heart rate get really high in the sauna, whether doing sit-ups or push-ups. And then I'll immediately go over to the cold tub and maybe do some breath work like that. And sometimes I'll see my heart rate go from 150 beats per minute to 50 beats per minute in the matter of like 2 minutes. And that is it's a system that I do that allows my body to adapt to stress a lot more effectively.
Believe it or not, one of the most powerful things research has shown that will transform your health is a sauna. A sauna, 20 minutes at over 162 degrees, and the best saunas are those infrared, so you have to get one that goes that high. But the research on that is unmistakable. 55% less chance of having a heart attack, 52% less chance of having a stroke. I mean, it goes on and on. The goal is 5 times a week. The study shows if you do it 3 times a week at 20 minutes at 162 degrees higher, you get all the benefits I just described you. But to me, it's just a habit. I just do it. It's fantastic.
Sir William Herschel discovered infrared in the 1800s. It was the first major discovery and really brought infrared to being known. So much has changed since that occurred. Today, infrared is used in hospitals. Newborn babies are put in incubators with infrared lamps to emulate the mother's womb. Dr. Harry Whalen worked with NASA. What we realized is if you had a wound, it doesn't heal the same in space as it does on Earth. So he used LEDs to increase cellular growth to improve wound healing. This was then later used by the US military, in particular Navy SEALs.
Extreme heat exposure is also really important to me. Once I learned that when you do saunas 5 to 7 times a week, you're reducing all-cause mortality up to 50%. I'm not just doing it myself, I'm asking my mom to do it every day.
We have numerous studies showing the benefit of combining both light and heat to make the brain healthier. One of the ways the brain becomes healthier as a result of combining infrared light and heat is by increasing the blood flow to the brain and helping to recharge the brain cells so that the brain can think clearer and respond faster. Some of the conditions that infrared has been shown to improve are depression, Alzheimer's, and dementia. There was recently a study with depression that's extremely impressive because with only one treatment of infrared, people reduced their depression symptoms for over 6 weeks.
A sauna practice affects the core body temperature. Viruses cannot live in an altered, feverish core body temperature.
There are numerous studies. Some I will highlight are the BUS study, that stands for blood, urine, sweat. This study showed the difference of heavy metals being removed from the body with infrared treatment through sweat versus blood and urine. For example, one of the results was when people tested for mercury, 15% had no levels of mercury, but then when they tested their sweat, it was 100% had mercury.
Infrared saunas increase the promotion of white blood cells, which help to build your immunity. Infrared saunas increase sweat, which help you get rid of the toxins. As your body's sweating, it's fighting to cool itself down. That increases circulation, which also helps to push the immune cells throughout your body, getting them to where they need to be. And finally, using an infrared sauna, relaxation, it's everything. Getting ourselves out of this chronic stress, this fight or flight mentality, truly is one of the best factors to increasing our immune system and helping to fight disease.
Go into the sauna. It's amazing. It works. I love the sauna.
So, what if the breakthroughs in longevity do not become a reality as quickly as we would like them to? If we're running out of time, is there a plan B?
Personally, I also believe in cryonics. If someone dies, we can cryonically suspend them and keep them frozen, if you will, for maybe 50 years until we can reanimate them. So I think this is a possibility. This was also impossible before until it was discovered with in vitro fertilization, which is freezing embryos or human eggs or human sperm. So we know that this is possible, and there are 8 million humans who have been already frozen when they were embryos.
Back in the 1970s, we really were freezing people. We didn't have any technology that would allow us to do anything else. And as most people know, when you freeze tissue, you get crystallization, you get dehydration of the cells, a lot of different problems. Over the last 47 years, we've come a long way in what we're able to do. The biggest breakthrough was about 15 years ago when we learned how to vitrify tissue. Vitrification is a physics term which refers to taking a liquid below the ice point and not having it crystallize, but have it turn into a glass-like state. Obviously, there's a lot less damage. Once we were able to do that, it was like huge leaps forward, but we still had the problem of rewarming. Those of us who are more optimistic think it will be 50 years or less, and those who are more pessimistic put it at about 100 years. With nanotechnology, the way it's envisioned for revival is it would do very much the same kind of thing, but instead of trillions of biological cells, you would have these tiny little nanorobots, which are computer controlled, would be in the cells, and they would do the same thing. They would look at a cell wall that's been damaged, tear it down into its constituent atoms, and then rebuild the wall so that it functions properly. Memory is cryopreserved. We don't have our memories, it's not going to be us. And so that's integral, and we feel very confident that memory and identity are being retained. I mean, when you stop and think about it, not a single human being has ever survived being alive on this earth. There are about 167 people who are trying to make that not be true for them right now. Very soon, within 50 to 100 years, people will suddenly realize that death was a thing of the past.
Look, if you're on the Titanic and someone throws you a life vest, even if you're not sure whether the life vest will do anything later, will you jump for it or won't you?
I think anybody who doesn't do that, they can afford it, is crazy. That's something that is the last resort, but I sure hope I have the money to afford it if all of a sudden I get diagnosed with some life-threatening disease, that I'm ready to be frozen so that maybe 200 years from now somebody can cure me and bring me back. I think that's better than not trying.
I love coming in here. It is a place of hope. I'm happy to know that my family members have a chance, as I hope I will, in seeing the future.
After creating the X Prize Foundation and spearheading the development of the private space industry sector, Peter Diamandis took on a new challenge: stopping aging. His new Longevity X Prize promises to pay $100 million to the team of scientists that is able to come up with solutions to halt aging within the next few years.
When I was in medical school, I remember seeing a documentary on long-lived sea life, that certain species of whales, bowhead whales, could live 200 years, and Greenland sharks could live 400 or 500 years. And I remember thinking, if they can live that long, why can't we? And back then, the answer that came to me was it's either going to be a software problem or a hardware problem, and we're going to be able to solve that. And so I became enamored over the last decade with building businesses that could extend the healthy human lifespan. I think it's one of the biggest business opportunities on the planet and the greatest gift you can give anybody.
Age Reversal X Prize is a global technological competition that we want to run for developing solution to reverse aging. So how are you going to do it? It's going to be 200, 300, 400 teams all around the world. They should use their own intervention, technology, or piece of science to reverse aging, in particular statistical sample of population.
The X Prize Foundation puts up large-scale global competitions, and we ask the world's entrepreneurs to solve a problem that has not been solved. And these competitions have a very clear objective outcome. And they say, I don't care where you went to school, what you've ever done. If you do this, you win. Our first X Prize was for private spaceflight. It was a $10 million prize for the team that could build a private spaceship, carry 3 adults up 100 kilometers, land again, and do it again within 2 weeks. And we're offering a $101 million purse for the team that can reverse the ravages of aging. Can you, in fact, reverse by 20 years functionally skin, immune, muscle, and cognition? And for me, it's about changing the mindset of people from not, wow, this is crazy, can it be done, to, oh my God, when is it going to be done?
Longevity is a new field for science, technology, and medicine. There are many questions out there and several misconceptions about the space.
So when you start to talk to somebody about extending human lifespan, one of the first places they go to is, what about overpopulation? But there's a couple of really relieving data points that need to be discussed in that. The first one is that all technology is working in parallel. It's not that all scientists are working on extending aging. Some people are working on, global climate change. Some people are working on how to feed a multitude of people. Some people are working on space travel and how to start mining asteroids. But there is another data point that's really important, and that is as lifespan extends, birth rates go down, and that's everywhere in the world.
Overpopulation is not a problem anymore. I mean, this was a problem that we saw like 20 years ago. But today we know the growth rate of the population is declining.
If we stop aging, actually, we will save money because people will not go to hospital for expensive treatments when they are dying because people will not be dying. So actually, we will have more money. The governments will have more money if people are young, if people don't age, if people don't need expensive medical treatments, if there is no retirement funds, because people will be young and able to work indefinitely if they want in an economy of abundance.
And indeed, a recent poll suggests that 68% of Americans would support the treatment of aging if the therapies were safe, effective, affordable, and available to all.
How old are you could soon become an outdated question. As people begin to implement longevity and life extension therapies, their biological age might soon become quite different from their chronological age. According to scientists, in just a few decades, 100 years old could become the new 50.
The problem with aging is everyone knows their chronological age, but really what aging researchers are interested in is this concept of biological age. So this is why we see the rise in disease or the increase in mortality risk as a function of age. And it's this kind of divergence, again, away from this optimal state.
So the best way to keep track of whether your lifestyle is conducive to longevity is with a biological age clock. So there are multiple forms of biological age clocks out there right now, but the most accurate currently are epigenetic clocks.
It's absolutely possible to reverse the biological age, and that has actually recently been accomplished by several groups. So there are two recent studies. One, these are randomized controlled trials that were performed on older people. Those people had their biological age measured using one of these biological clocks, molecular clocks, and then they were put on some kind of a program to try to slow down or reverse the aging for a certain number of months. And so the two trials that I can remember very recently, one used the human growth hormone, and in just a few months, they were able to not just slow down aging, but actually reverse it by 2 years in a group of people. Now, human growth hormone is sort of a controversial drug because it can also cause cancer, so it's not something that everyone would like to take. But in another trial, people used alpha-ketoglutarate, and that's just a normal supplement. They did sort of overdose it a little bit. They used several grams per day for several months. But in that short period, they actually showed that they can not just slow down aging, but reverse it significantly. I think it was something by 1.5 years or 2 years reversal in a few months.
Let's take a guy, he's 55 years old. He's 40 pounds overweight. His cholesterol is sky high. His LDLs are high. He's out of breath. He's in terrible shape. His sexual function is in the toilet. The guy's a mess. We put him on the right kind of program. We do HRT, hormone replacement therapy on him. We change his diet. He loses the 40 pounds. His cholesterol comes down. His LDLs come down. His HDLs come up. All of a sudden, this guy physiologically is a different person.
What if one day we could stop aging? And what would happen when we get to that stage? Do we become immortal? What would that even look like?
Well, it's amazing that we as humanity have always had this fascination for living forever. And that fascination has never died. We are definitely at the cusp of increasing our lifespan and health span. There is no doubt in my mind. There is nothing in our body that says that when we turn 100, we must die, or 130, or 150, or 200. I really believe we will be able to live as long as we want, and we'll be able to live healthy as long as we want. And to me, that is the purpose worth living for.
So when you look at telomere length, they say the cap that you can live is about 120 years. So that's our kind of genetically programmed time to live as long as possible. And there have been people who have lived up to 120 years, but that was without any technology, without any medical innovation. Now we can alter the genetics. We can modify the environment in which these telomeres are attritioning, meaning they're becoming shorter. So we can modify that environment. It's hard to know what the maximum age will be because 120 years is just our base. That's what we have to work with. Those are the raw materials that we have in our body.
If you were to tell most physicians or medical researchers in the year 1900 that we will soon have magic bullets that cure infectious diseases, bacterial diseases, it would have sounded too optimistic.
It seems to me that our ability to arrest aging is an inevitability. Absent any catastrophic event stopping progress, biology is an engineerable system. We have increasingly powerful tools to interrogate biology, program biology. It's different, it's more complex than computer code, it behaves differently, but there's no reason to believe that we will not be able to arrest aging.
All these science fiction ideas of longevity, these ideas of living forever, these ideas of merging into robots, becoming androids, all these things actually could happen.
Immortality is already possible at the level of the cell, and it's been that way for 1 billion years. At this point, it's just an engineering challenge of applying those learnings to all of the cells in the human body.
For the first time in history, we are truly between the last human mortal generation and the first human immortal generation.
When science is extending your life for more than a year for every year that you're alive, and that concept is called longevity escape velocity, your goal should be how do you live healthfully for the next 10 or 20 years to intercept the technologies coming that will then extend your life the next 10 or 20 years. Will we ever get to 500 years of lifespan like the Greenland shark or 200 years like the bowhead whale? Maybe. But what I feel confident we can get to is being full of vitality and energy and strong cognition, aesthetics, mobility at 100, maybe 120.
That sounds like magic, sounds crazy. Ray Kurzweil's been talking about this for 30 years. He's been the most accurate forecaster in the world for any form of technology. I just talked to him the other day, we're right on target. And imagine what's happening with AI. So there's so many breakthroughs that are coming and so much money being invested by some of the wealthiest people in the world who understand money isn't everything, because if you're not here, you don't have anything. So Silicon Valley is obsessed with this area.
I mean, since I was a kid, I was a punk hardcore kid. Like the punk motto is live fast, die young. I changed that motto. I mean, once I knew like the possibility of living indefinitely, I'm like, I don't want to live fast, die young. I want to live fast, die never.
I believe with the current advances, in 10 years we'll be able to stop aging. I have full faith in the ingenuity of our scientists. I believe it's possible. I believe that if they can do it to mice today, then they'll be able to do it to humans. We're not that different.
Počítáme s tím, že za několik let budeme zapojovat pokročilejší intervence, které už budou spočívat třeba v mitochondriálních infuzích, v eliminaci senescentních buněk, anebo, dejme tomu, stenčení, snižování aterosklerotických plátů. Takže tady z toho hlediska budoucnost je velmi blízko a je to realistická.
Things are going to be exponential. So I'm very comfortable to say that the next 10 years I'll be able to enjoy the fruit of this research pretty nicely, and I'm looking forward to that.
For me, I think there's no way to tell. So, I mean, it's amazing what humans are capable of doing that we never thought was possible, but I think anyone who truly says they know whether we can or can't, I think is probably mistaken, because there's no way to predict what the future holds or what scientific discoveries are going to come around. So I think we have to just work on these hard problems and kind of wait and see where they take us.
60s are the new 40s. You see guys my age in their 60s that can look good, can be fit, and not be limited in terms of things that they do. And some people, they can't put it at the top of their list simply because of economics. You have some people, unfortunately, have to worry about surviving as opposed to thriving. But You know, some of us are very, very fortunate and we're able to invest to look at alternatives, and hopefully one of these things clicks.
It's happening before our eyes, and it's happening at a rate that we could have never imagined. It's wild. I'm here for it. I'm excited. If I can stand on my own 2 feet at age 100, I'll stand on my skateboard. I might be going slow, but I'll still stand on it.
There's new science at the forefront that's coming through now, which is about reversing aging. We're not just talking about slowing aging, we're actually about turning back the clock.
And people dying is like book burning. You're taking all of the asset, all of the information that they've learned, and you're destroying it, and it's gone.
Supplements are a multi-billion-dollar, unregulated global industry, and anyone can come up with their own supplement these days. So how can we know which supplements are actually good for us and which ones could potentially help with aging?
So many people are under the preconception that a very healthy diet and exercise is enough to help with longevity. And the answer is sort of. Definitely, a good diet and exercise will help you avoid a lot of disease, and it will help you with longevity to a certain degree, but it's truly not enough. We know so much more in the medical field about cells, and as an example, we know that taking pterostyl, which comes from blueberries, activates sirtuins, and this is extraordinarily beneficial for longevity. And people say, oh, I sprinkled a few blueberries on my salad, isn't that fantastic? And the answer is, yeah, I bet salad tastes great and looks very pretty. Unfortunately, it's not enough blueberries. You have to eat about 3 gallons of blueberries a day to have full beneficial effects.
If you don't have a healthy lifestyle, I'm not sure these supplements are going to help you that much. But second of all, pick one thing or at most 2 things among these supplements and try them. And ideally, you would measure your biologic age before and after you try them as well. So AKG goes down with age. It goes down in animals and in humans. And we found that if you restore the AKG levels as you get older, it has beneficial effects on aging. So we're very interested in trying to understand the mechanism by which AKG acts. But even more so, we want to get more and more human data to show that maybe this is the first natural product that can actually reverse biologic age in people. And so we're doing clinical studies to try to test that.
When it comes to longevity supplements, these are ingredients that are being demonstrated in the laboratory and in clinical studies to be able to slow down the pace of aging or to be able to positively impact the different hallmarks of aging. It's a short list, but ingredients like alpha-ketoglutarate, fisetin, glycine, and so on have been found to have these very positive effects on the aging process. And what's even more exciting to me is the combination of these ingredients.
So one of my absolute favorite things in this category is astaxanthin. It comes from algae. When algae gets angry, meaning physiologically stressed, it makes this lovely pink-orange goo, and that is astaxanthin, and it protects that cell from physiologic stress, especially oxidative stress, and it protects us from oxidative stress.
There's a database online called the Drug Age Database, and this database has more than 2,000 studies cataloged for more than 1,000 molecules, from pharmaceuticals to over-the-counter natural ingredients, across 37 different species that show lifespan extending characteristics of these ingredients. It's the most complete database in existence for lifespan extending compounds.
As you get older, you have micronutrient deficiencies. So you need to make up those micronutrients, which is why people should take multivitamins. However, an excessive amount doesn't actually help with longevity. It just makes you not as unhealthy as you could have been.
That's a fun hobby to take a lot of supplements a day. So people who take, 70 or 100 supplements a day, I think they're having fun with what they do. I don't think that we can say it's doing much good beyond that. Yes, all of the mechanisms exist. All of these interactions are documented. These supplements do something, but that something is likely too small to care about.
Most supplements, the vast majority, are not longevity supplements. They might be for some short-term health benefit, maybe exercise performance or focus or improving libido or whatever it is that people are looking for. And many companies will claim that they're longevity supplements simply because they are good for short-term health outcomes, but that's not in fact the case.
So there's lots of interest, obviously, in natural products that might target the biological aging process. One of the big advantages of natural products is you don't have to do an FDA clinical trial, right? So if they work, it's much easier to get that to consumers and to the general public. The downside is doesn't require FDA approval, meaning nobody has to do a clinical trial. If I had to place a bet right now, I would say alpha-ketoglutarate looks interesting. There is some reason to believe that alpha-ketoglutarate could potentially have beneficial effects, at least in some people, in the context of aging.
If you want to take something with the full knowledge that it is experimental and we don't know for some of these things even how safe they are, but it's worth it to you, right? Because, you have developed some major chronic diseases and you're kind of at a stage where you'll try anything. I think, again, as long as you're talking to your doctor and you're, taking things legally, I think it's fine. But again, just acknowledging that we don't know and really understanding the science of where things are versus kind of the hype.
Vampires using other people's blood to achieve immortality is the stuff of folk mythology. But some scientists today believe that young blood could actually help slow down the pace of aging. The field of parabiosis, or plasma exchange, is definitely a controversial topic, but it has many people intrigued.
Parabiosis, which is young blood. This is also very important, and incredible advances have been done in the last couple of years. We are identifying what is good in young blood and what is bad in old blood. And we will soon discover really the key elements to rejuvenate blood, because blood goes throughout the body and it will allow the body to stay younger.
Actually, blood plasma is something that is very scalable. Blood transfusions happen all around the world every day. And I think that that's going to be a very important part of having systemic rejuvenation. And we see that these therapies are really going to come through within the next 5 years.
There's a history of literature showing that if you take blood from a young mouse and give that to an old mouse, this is often done surgically through a process called parabiosis, that can actually have beneficial effects on the old mouse. Interestingly, when you connect the circulatory system of a young mouse with an old mouse, it has detrimental effects on the young mouse. Obviously, surgically attaching a young person to an old person isn't going to fly, right? So the alternative would be transfusions, plasma transfusions, for example. I don't think there's much evidence yet in people that has significant beneficial effects. But again, it's pretty early and only very, very small, uncontrolled trials have been done. But again, I think from a feasibility perspective, if we're trying to think about an intervention that, could be useful for hundreds of millions of people, that's just not very pragmatic, right? So I think that the direction that many people are trying to go is to identify what are the specific factors in the blood that are accounting for these effects, and then you could do a much more targeted approach.
I do hear a lot of people talking about getting young people's plasma. And certainly that can be done. It's typically done in a clinical trial setting where you get rid of your old plasma and you get young plasma in return. From the data we have so far, getting young people's plasma really didn't make a big difference. It was simply the process of getting rid of old plasma that really made a difference from an aging standpoint.
If you have too many inflammatory markers or toxins in your blood, it's going to increase your propensity towards aging. Plasmapheresis helps us do that. It removes some of these toxins, inflammatory markers from your blood, and we replenish it with healthy serum, albumin, basically.
Perhaps we can slow down aging, the disease of aging, by getting rid of our old plasma.
Gene therapy sounds scary. Altering a person's genome could obviously have unforeseen consequences. But despite the unknowns, there seem to be exciting paths for these technologies when it comes to longevity and aging.
I mean, CRISPR is very exciting. I think like anything, it's like AI. It can also create some challenges too. I'm not just a blind optimist, but if you look at human history, electricity can light up a city or it can kill somebody. So I think these technologies have to be monitored, but the opportunity with CRISPR to, for example, have children now that can see again that were blind, that's actually happening as we speak.
We sequenced the human genome back 20 years ago. It used to cost $1 billion and take, a year to sequence a single genome. It's dropped from billions of dollars to hundreds of dollars. And from a year to like 7 hours. So we're gonna sequence every person's genome. As a baby is born, their genome will be sequenced and we'll understand what are they likely to come down with this disease? Can we solve it in advance?
You, of course, can optimize a health span. You can slow your speed of aging. But if we want to prolong life in any meaningful way, we're going to have to get gene therapies working robustly.
As humans, really, we can only live to 120, 122. And really, we need something at a genetic level to be able to change that, to be able to be living older. So we see that gene therapies are going to be a very important part of the longevity agenda.
Most people understand that exercise is the best way to fight the aging process. What if we could give you an injection that can help to increase your bone density, your lean body mass, it can extend your lifespan by 30%, and it can almost trick your body into feeling like it's exercising at a cellular level without you actually exercising. That's the promise of the follistatin gene therapy and other gene therapies that are currently being developed. And it's the world's first reversible gene therapy, which means that you can take an antibiotic and you can get it out of your body at any time. There's no other gene therapy in the world that can be reversed. Right now, as with any new technology, it's expensive. But Moore's law will apply, which means the manufacturing process to make these gene therapies will become better. And as that process becomes better, it becomes cheaper. And so within 10 years, I've envisioned a future where this will be democratized and accessible to everyone.
So I believe that we don't need to be subjected to just the laws of evolution anymore. We can control it, and I think that even though survival of the species is better if we knock off the old, I think we can figure out a way for the human species and our pets to survive even without the old being knocked off.
In any industry, there are scams and shady practices. And in the health and longevity space, it's no different. So what can your average person do to help differentiate good science from bad science and promising therapies from straight-out scams?
Everybody wants to sell you something. And the people who don't want to sell you things, they all have a different opinion. So ultimately, you're going to have to learn how to read the scientific literature and how to form your own opinions based on that primary data.
We're trying to distinguish between anti-aging and between gerotherapeutics or geroscience. It's a major problem because a lot of the people in the anti-aging are charlatans knowingly, okay? In other words, they tell you, take that, and you live forever, and you take it and you die, nobody sues them. Or they're not really charlatans, but they're thinking that they have a promise, but they haven't shown that this promise is working.
If we can't find robust evidence to support it, then we don't do it. In the current culture of health and wellness, there's a lot of participation in things that don't have scientific evidence. It may work, it may not. We are a group that works on scientific evidence and data.
Well, the science of longevity before 5 to 10 years ago was garbage. And whatever people were sort of talking about was probably not very accurate. Perhaps well-intended, but not very accurate. And the population is sort of just sitting ducks. And I think that's putting a really bad slant on longevity science because that's just entrepreneurship. That's people wanting to make money from people that don't know anything. So I think right now, people have to understand several things. Number one, the science is real. We're no longer these crazy crackpot scientists thinking about a world that's non-existent. You can improve your health, you can improve your longevity. How do you do that? That's a great question because everyone has a different answer for it. For real longevity, it's cellular optimization and then re-evaluating what your cells do need rather than just throwing in everything that you don't need.
One thing that we can say is that the promise of life extension is mostly a promise, is not yet possible to deliver upon, may never be possible to deliver upon, and yet there are going to be a lot of buying customers.
The field of anti-aging has more quacks and charlatans than any field ever. People for thousands of years have been touting cure aging products that don't really work. The bottom line is, even in scientific peer-reviewed studies, you can find support for anything you wish to be true. A lot of people will force some study to get published just so they can market a product.
You know, it's an interesting field to work in, right? Because it really is at that interface of, you know, really rock solid, rigorous science. There's plenty of that in the field. And then at the other end, there's pure snake oil.
Talk to two scientists, they will give you two totally different answers about aging and what to do about it. Talk to two self-experimenters and one of them will be trying to sell you something. And the other one won't know what they're talking about.
No matter where you're from or what your beliefs are, we can all agree that life is a gift that should be cherished. The people working in longevity and life extension fields want to extend that gift for humanity. Whether they can achieve it remains to be seen. But if they succeed, it would bring a new horizon to humanity, where diseases of aging become a thing of the past.
To me, aging is just being who you are, regardless of what the number is.
We're giving people more years with the people they love. We're giving them more years to work and be productive. We're giving them more years to do what they love. So when we're investing in longevity, what we're really doing is making society better.
I can't say what the future of longevity science holds for us, but I think with all the great minds working on it, it's going to probably be pretty amazing.
So anti-aging to me is not the end goal, it's what it represents, that we as a species become more peaceful and compassionate, and we can focus our energies less on indulging in these meaningless self-destructive behaviors and more in this wide open frontier where we say yes to the future.